Welcome to the Q&A section about the growth marketing stack. We have many questions in the pipeline. What's your favorite tool for lead generation? That's a pretty broad question, but I'll try to answer it as good as I can. For lead generation, I would say Instapage and any tool that easily helps me to create engaging landing pages with a simple, here is a lead magnet, I want your contact data, tool. Outgrow is, I would say, the tool that has the most power in terms of interactivity. Here we have it open. It helps me to create assessments and surveys and all that fun stuff. Typeform, building surveys on Typeforms, incredibly powerful to generate leads. I've never seen a more performant lead magnet than a personality test that I use for one of my bigger clients. They developed it over there. I'm not taking credit for that at all, but we really optimized the flow and the tracking and the campaigns that went there. We are talking about 2,000 leads coming in per day. So tests, surveys, personalities, wow, that really works great. These are my favorite tools for lead generation. Okay, next question. The best CRM for long sales cycles. So there is only one function your CRM needs so that you can track it through a long time, and it's called first source. We're not interested only in where people came from just before they converted or they sent an offer. We want to know where we got in touch with them, and if possible, some steps in between. So in HubSpot, they always have this first source field. So let's say you do a Facebook ad or LinkedIn ads. Let's talk about LinkedIn ads because long sales cycle tend to be only in B2B. So you target CEOs looking for financial reporting tools, and you have a long sales cycle because there is a big decision process involved with financial tools usually. So you make a LinkedIn ad and you promise them, hey, here is a checklist of the 10 most important aspects a financial reporting tool has to have. Please leave me your name, your email, your company name, your company size. Here you go. Now they land in your CRM. Let's call it HubSpot or ActiveCampaign. Those would be the most appropriate ones for long-term sales cycles. Now there needs to be a field that has never been touched again called first source that attributes the campaign on LinkedIn to creating that lead in your system. You're never sure if they have not already been in contact with you through your content marketing, but you have to make some sacrifices at some point. Now, if a customer has a 3 to 6 month life cycle, you keep in touch with them. All of the emails, all of the offers are being tracked through HubSpot and ActiveCampaign, for example. And you can see every step a customer did. I could go into ActiveCampaign and look at my own history for, I guess, like 1.5 years and see everything, every email that I opened, every link that I clicked, every website that I visited, every form that I submitted, every event that I went to. And then I can see this history after the person has been actually closed as a final deal that is with a signed contract. And then you can go back and you can see similarities in the first source and the other touch points that were necessary for people to convert. And then you will see structures and patterns. And you can see, I need to drive more people into the email newsletter because that's the place where I can build relationships. I need to contact more people on LinkedIn because people who have been handpicked and hunted by me on LinkedIn, sorry for using the word hunting in that context. I just love sales and that is just common wording in that area. Those people have a very high probability to convert and their customer lifetime value is great in long term. That's enough. You need to see the first source and the history. And most CRMs do this. For example, Mailchimp doesn't. So I would go for an active campaign, maybe a Salesforce, and if you need a lot of other marketing and content marketing stuff, HubSpot. Yeah, this would be my recommendation. Cool. So if you have any suggestions regarding the answers to those questions, feel free to add them in the comments and on Discord. We really love seeing your opinions. It's not only my voice that counts, it's a community effort. Yeah, but I will give my best to answer it as conscionably as possible. All right, next question. Any perfect tool to define, analyze target groups for Facebook ads? Yes, there are. There is the built-in Facebook Audience Insights, but I guess you're already familiar with that. For those who are not familiar with the Audience Insights tool, if you have a free Google Ads account, you can go to the menu in the top left corner and go to Audience Insights. And you can enter a country, an age group, interests, and then you get a lot of suggestions of what this segment of the audience that you just selected likes in terms of different pages, magazines, cars, clothing brands, toothpastes, politicians, and you get a pretty clear picture of what your customer is. This is quite extensive. Yeah, it even goes as far as relationship status, education level. When I open this with a client, I always say the words like, this is the reason why Facebook is for free. Yeah, because our data, it's the product for marketers like us. Not meaning to scare you with that. But what I actually wish would exist is a tool that has like a complete list of all the interest groups and that lists them properly, and where I can select and compose highly associated interest groups that are maybe even correlated with campaign success. That would be my ideal tool. If you know one of those, please let me know. Otherwise, I would suggest using the Audience Insights from Facebook. Cool. So the next question is, oh yeah, I'm gonna check this one off immediately. How excited about the iMac release? Incredibly excited, you wouldn't believe. What tech skills are needed for the best of breed approach? Cheers. Okay. Tech skills, I would say the general affinity for tech, that you're not scared of tech, is the biggest prerequisite. I always see that people are really actively scared to try new products. They wait for the Excel spreadsheet trainer to come in and teach them about Excel instead of just going to Google and solving that problem for yourself. So if you have that mindset of just learning shit for yourself, then you're a good candidate for the best of breed approach. What you should also understand are tools like Zapier. Zapier makes it so easy to connect the isolated data points from, let's say, a MailChimp to a shop system, to a Discord, to social media, to Google Form, to Google Analytics. It teaches you to think in this best of breed way very much. So dig into Zapier, and it is so user-friendly that you will pick up some technical skills on the background. If you want to go a bit deeper, you would be interested in, there is a universal communication system between apps, which is called webhooks. And it's a prerequisite for most of those automations. A webhook is what developers built into a tool that if a certain URL is being visited and it has some parameters on it, the information in those parameters will tell the tool to do something, to save a lead, to open something up, to delete something, to change a certain field. And if you're interested in that, look into webhooks. I think they make you incredibly flexible. If you understand how webhooks work and how you can transfer data between tools with them. Because even the tools that are not being supported by Zapier usually have support for webhooks. Yeah? And then you can build all the crazy stuff for yourself. So 3 levels: affinity for tech and not being afraid to learn for yourself, Zapier, webhooks. All right. Next question is, what would be your first steps if you quit 9 to 5 and start as a digital marketing expert growth marketeer, if you're already experienced in digital marketing? Whoo, love that question. Who is that from? I'm really curious. Let me know later who you are. What would I do? What would be the first steps? I can tell you what I did and what I would do again and what I would change. 4 years ago, I was on company number 6 or 7 and I already practiced a lot of growth marketing. I started with SEO, got into SEA, search engine marketing, Facebook ads, analytics, landing page building, app building, that kind of stuff. And I was in a funded startup and I quit 2 years in. And then I was suddenly free. And by the way, my wife was pregnant and I just quit my job pretty much. What I did is I looked around for 2 to 3 months to really see, what do I want to do? What am I interested in? And when I found that out for myself, which niche within growth marketing, which is huge, yeah, I found that nerdy marketing, that's my thing. Very data driven, very analytical marketing, that's it. And then I started to visit events that went into that area, like meetups, for example. But I couldn't find the one that was quite right for me. The next best one was in Essen, and that was simply too far for me to travel from Cologne every week or every month. So I started my own meetup series. This is how Pirates got started. And this decision to start this meetup and to continually host at least one meetup per month consistently for 4 years, that was such a game changer for me. And it was a game changer from day one. It was not that I needed to do this for a year before anybody noticed. The first meetup was with 50 people. Yeah, that was really crazy. And of course, we are already a bit experienced growth marketers, so you are your own marketer. So use that. What I would change is I would, from day one, and even before that, start focusing stronger on LinkedIn, on content marketing on LinkedIn. I would absolutely commit to writing 1 article per week on my subject matter on LinkedIn and to create 1 video per week and post that on YouTube from day one. With 0 subscribers, 0 followers, I was doing that. Nothing gives you the credibility like that over time. Let me just show you the impact this had on me. If you go to pirateskills.com, yeah, let's go there, and you check out the free videos and slides, the main call to action you can click. You can see, oh yeah, here, cool, there are some interesting subjects. But if you scroll down, you can see, oh, he does not only talk about A/B testing and personalization, he talks about video content creation, Instagram ads, Google Analytics demystified, Corona marketing survival, automation for busy marketers. You see, it's always this, let's do nerdy marketing stuff. Yeah, that is my consistent line because that's what I love. But you see this back catalog, and every time I have a meetup, this increases the credibility for me being a good resource to learn growth marketing about. Yeah, so this goes back to September 4th, and you have a video and a slide deck for every single meetup since then. So generating, first of all, writing the content, creating the videos, and then building this awesome resource for your audience, and to keep on learning and getting feedback and asking them for ideas on what you can do better actively, online and offline. That's what I would do from day one. Hope that answers your question. Oh yeah, maybe one more thing. All the things I'm doing, including the meetup, my egoistical reason to do this is that nothing helps me to become a better growth marketer than this here. Working with my clients is at least as valuable for me as for them. I learned something new. It's for me like just getting the chance to play another chess game, getting better. Having to explain a concept like this structures my mind. My main ambition is to become the best growth marketer I can be. The meetup is a convenient tool to force myself to do something valuable for my community every month, now twice a month since the pandemic, because I'm just getting bored in the second half of the month. Not that I don't have anything else to do, but I wanted to see what happens if I do 2 events per month. By the way, I would really like to know, how do you like it that we are now doing 2 events per month compared to 1? That's my main motivation. Get fucking good at what you want to do and talk about it. Talk about your journey of getting better. I always share my fuck ups. We even have a dedicated slot in our publishing pipeline once a month where I share my fuck ups. Yeah. So enjoy that process as well and have fun with it. Okay. Next question. What do you think about ClickFunnels and building landing pages in funnel? From Tim Rabe. Thank you for the question, Tim. The honest question is, I think the founder behind ClickFunnels, Russell Brunson, is the marketer I personally would want to learn the most from. It's the only guy I would spend the $20,000 to join a mastermind for. Russell Brunson is to me really a leader in that whole funnel community. And he's a sales guy who learned marketing really good, but he's not a product person. He's not a designer, and he's definitely not a techie. And you notice that in ClickFunnels, it is tech-wise awfully. If you look at the code and the page speed with which those landing pages load, it's just horrible. The design looks like any other American online marketing douchebag. And I try to stay away from that image as far as possible. But if you put in some love and restrict some of the crazy stuff that is being loaded in the background and do some good design work, ClickFunnels can be a good all-in-one tool, yeah, for you. But personally, it's not for me. So the next question is, how far will the Google Analytics functionality suffer from the recent privacy cookie restrictions? Very good question, Sven. It is all now a game of cookie consent optimization. In the good old times, we used to do landing page optimization. Now we optimize the conversion rate in which people opt into our cookies. I would say if you have a cookie in the lower corner and people can, in the lower side of your website or the top, and people can use your website without making a decision concerning cookies, you will have about a 5% opt-in rates to Google Analytics, Facebook Pixel, LinkedIn, any pixel. And your analytics is dead. You could just deinstall Google Analytics from your profile. But if you have a centralized cookie banner that is bold and helps people to make a decision, then you have a 60% and above opt-in rate to all cookies. I've seen as high as 90%. And I would say above 80%, it doesn't matter anymore. We used to have a pretty large numbers of people who have cookie blockers installed, especially if you're in a more techie environment. There you have like 20% of people who are suppressing cookies at least. But as long as I get consistently 60 to 80% of all people tracked, I'm cool, I'm fine. I can just multiply my results by 1.5, for example. I always compare what does Google Analytics say, but what, for example, does my server log say? What does the Facebook pixel say about my sales? And what does the Shopify or my bookkeeper say what I make? And as long as there is a consistent relationship, Facebook pixel tells me 10,000, bookkeeping tells me 15,000, then I know I can just multiply my Facebook ad results by 1.5. It's not perfect, but we will get through it. And I actually think, like, after this meetup, you're probably, if you have not been as deep as some other people into the online marketing scene, you were surprised by the options and possibility and how crazy we are getting tracked today. It's a good thing. We have to get people to consent actively and to make that decision to be tracked. And I think the better personalization gets, the more people will do consent to your cookies, because websites are just going to be stupid if you are not consenting, because you're going to be retargeted by ads that are irrelevant for you because you already bought the product. You get still the same old lead magnets shown to you, even though you could be showing the second, third tier of lead magnets, and you're missing out on that. You are not getting the benefit of the A/B test and personalization due to your gender, interest groups, age, etc. So I hope people will see over time the benefits of consenting, and we will get into a decent 60 to 80% opt-in rate on all pages. As I said, with Ball Labs Cookie, they track the opt-in rates and which things the user have decided. On Pirate Skills, I'm currently at about 65%, and I think I can get it up to 80%. All right, next questions. What's your point of view on podcast? Would it make sense for you too? I used to have a podcast, so I might be qualified to talk about it. A podcast is quite a commitment. It's similar to a YouTube channel. If you don't take it seriously and if you don't go for it and publish a podcast on a weekly basis, don't. But if you're willing to do this, this is also only the first part. Remember, nobody subscribed to you on YouTube or on the podcast platforms. You need to first publish the content, and then you need to push that content through your other channels. But podcasts have one really magic effect. There is by far and beyond no other content type where people will lend you so much time. I'm absolutely willing to listen to half an hour podcast. No problem. It's even short. I listen to 2-hour Tim Ferriss podcast every day. Yeah. But I would never spend that time on video or on social media posts, for example. So podcast is an incredible way, an auditory way to get acquainted, to build a lot of trust with your customers. It's also a great vehicle to connect with other experts in your niche. So you can interview them, you can get to know them, you can position them as expert, which they like, but which also benefits you a lot. So I love podcasts, and once I'm happy with our focus on YouTube, I'm going to start one again. All right, last 3 questions. Is the availability for a tool on iPad and mobile a criteria? Yes, I was so happy that when I found out that ActiveCampaign had an iOS app, or that Facebook Ads has a decent iOS app. It is a criteria for me. For content creation, I want Canva to be available mobile and on desktop. It even has additional functionality on mobile because it uses the iOS API for animations, for example. It is definitely a plus. Depending on your lifestyle, if you're very mobile, then obviously this becomes more and more and more important. I also mistrust companies who have not gotten on the mobile train yet, who missed out on that chance. I just don't get it. Yeah, so I kind of mistrust them if they don't. They don't necessarily have to have a native iOS app, but they have to have an excellent web app. Yeah, that is 80% where their desktop install app is. Yeah, so that's enough for me. Okay, last two questions. Let's check off Salesforce. Yeah, Salesforce is good. I recently had a subscription to Salesforce to try it out again. It's cheaper than I thought. It was capable, but I would go for Pipedrive. Yeah, if I would have to make that choice again. Go away. Any tools for managing hashtags? Yes, there is one called Hashtagify. It's really great. You can manage your hashtags there. You can see the trends of hashtags. You get associated hashtags on Hashtagify. It is focused on Instagram, so I think Hashtagify is more focused on Twitter. There are for each platform different hashtag tools. So be aware that hashtags do not work across platforms. Maybe basic hashtags, but there's a lot of hashtag culture on specific platforms that you need to be aware about that are not included in all tools. So that is a good starting point. And then go to YouTube and ask, enter best hashtag tools, and you will be littered with comparisons, yeah, which is quite helpful. This is how I discover my hashtag tools or any other tools that I like. Sometimes I also like to go to Product Hunt, and there are some tool aggregation websites, like the marketing tech thing that we saw with the big landscape of all tech tools.